Hello and welcome to a brand new show of IRM, the show on which we debate, discuss, ideate and also deliberate how will India come back on the growth map. Some companies have managed to convert crisis into opportunity. How should one read into the new push of government towards manufacturing, and how exactly the orientation of the corporate India Inc. will now change in this pandemic crisis. So to discuss the nuances of the manufacturing sector, auto sector, and how exactly is the consumer sentiment likely to move, I have with me the perfect person to really decipher all these very difficult questions, Mr. Venu Srinivasan of TVS Group. Mr. Srinivasan, pleasure to have you back on ET Now. Thank you for joining us. Now, Mr. Srinivasan, you run a business which is a consumer-facing business, the auto business. It's a business which is dependent on availability of cash at the consumer end and also the feel-good factor. Given how festival demand has been, especially for the auto sector, somewhere are you surprised and even delighted with the ability of the consumer to really hold on?
We are definitely optimistic, but very cautious a couple of months ago. But now I would say we are optimistic. We have reached in the automotive industry and along with other consumer goods, FMCG, back to about last year's level. And so that is a much sharper recovery than was expected. So we are very happy with the way Indian consumer, as you say, has bounced back.
So, Mr. Srinivasan, do you think the demand comeback which has happened in the sector which you represent, the auto sector, could be a function of pent-up demand, or you think the pent-up demand will actually translate into a cyclical upturn?
Well, it's a fair question. And the reason when I was asked a month ago to appear on your channel was I wasn't sure. I wanted to wait till Diwali was over. And after having seen Deepavali, I'm convinced that it is here to stay. There is actually a normalization taking place, except for sectors which are to do with hospitality, airlines, tourism. I think they continue to be affected.
Now, Mr. Srinivasan, while all of us are very happy and delighted and no one is complaining that demand has come back, the fact that demand has come back, it needs to be looked into context of what is creating this demand, what is generating cash flow at a time when unemployment is there. Government stimulus, unlike what other countries have done in India, was not very large. So where do you think this demand is coming from?
See, I think a lot of jobs have come back, at least speaking for the automotive industry. A whole lot of migrant jobs have come back. So that is a very good positive. Government has given a lot of succor to small and medium-sized companies in terms of extending liquidity. And I think that has really helped keep them afloat. And while we all clamored for a lot more giveaways, the fiscal space wasn't there. Now looking back, I think we are quite happy, actually, the government did not give as much as we wanted, because things have come back more quickly and sharply than we expected. However, I have one caveat. I think government will have to do something for really distressed sectors, and we cannot allow them to fail. Let me take three of them. One is airlines, other is hotels, and the third is power. All three sectors are in deep trouble, and they are fundamental to the country. So government may have to step in with some fiscal benefits for very, very highly affected sectors, but not for everybody.
Mr. Srinivasan, high-frequency data points are clearly indicating that we have a very strong revival in the rural economy, whether it is tractor sales or the way how vegetable and food prices have gone higher.
Yes, the rural economy has led it. And I think if you look at it, scooters are slower because the urban commuting or the urban middle class is not buying as much. But motorcycles are doing, mopeds are doing well because the rural economy is really punching above its normal weight.
When we spoke last, you were talking about supply constraints which you were experiencing, especially in relation to the supply chain management and availability of auto components. Have those supply challenges got resolved now?
Yeah, supplies have come back, supply chains have eased up, things are much more normal. People have migrated back to work. So I would say we are near normal, except for a lot more precautions that we still have to take, like between shifts, a break, and anybody going, for example, for Deepavali back to native places and coming back, we had to do a rapid test, at least to eliminate any possibility of people bringing contamination back to the factory. So those precautions, I think, are going to distancing, masks are going to continue for a long time. I think at least till a vaccine comes or a herd immunity comes. And I would not like to comment about either of them because I don't know enough about it.
There is a big disruption which is evident clearly in the auto space. Tesla and the kind of disruption which is happening in the car market is unprecedented. Do you see a same level of disruption even happening in the two-wheeler space? Because electric two-wheelers are a reality. You can see on road that electric scooters are there.
Yeah, I think it's a very important question because disruption is coming in many ways. First, digitalization is coming in a very big way. Some people claim that digitalization has been pushed 10 years forward because of the COVID. For example, brick and mortar companies or retail will certainly be affected. You see a lot of shops shut and many of them may never reopen. Restaurants are going to feel the heat because Zomato and Uber Eats, all kinds of apps are taking, people now realize they can dine at home with restaurant food. So I think there are many sectors which are going to be affected. Advertising, for example, we are going far more digital across the board. As far as the automotive space is concerned, I think there will be a changeover, not as rapidly as some people expect, but given a 10-year horizon, this is what we have been arguing with. The government also has given us a migration path because supply chains have to be set up. Lithium is a scarce commodity. There's no battery manufacturing in India. And for this to catch up will take time. So like BS4, BS6, we need a roadmap and an orderly roadmap so that we can manage the supply chain as well. If you look at also a lot of the suppliers who are making forgings, castings across India, a lot of small and medium companies, they also have to adjust to this changeover. So I think this migration will happen. I think by 2030 or 35, people are expecting a large percentage of vehicles, internationally four-wheelers, about 35%. So we would also like to think that a lot of the urban motorcycles or scooters may also migrate towards electric to some percentage. For me, it's very difficult to say what percentage today.
So directionally, how are you planning to spend in that space? Directionally, would you be spending a portion of your R&D into this area just to understand the benefits of EVs?
I think all of us are working very hard. The supply chain is not yet there in India, but will develop. For example, there are motors still come imported, batteries are still imported. Maybe the controllers can be made in India, but still the batteries and motors have not yet been indigenized. Internal capacity has not come up. But it will happen.
Now, one side, Indian government is pushing for the PLI schemes, and we are talking about Atmanirbharta in India, which is to make India self-reliant. However, given that a basic component which is used in the electric vehicles is battery, and the source of battery is lithium, which is not found in India, do you think in the Indian auto sector it would be very difficult in a sense to really have complete Atmanirbharta?
See, first, we welcome PLI, but we have to see the rules and the amount of incentives that are actually given. But definitely, Atmanirbhar is welcome. In many cases, we went much below the bound duty of rates, which we had signed with WTO. It was not really necessary to go so rapidly down to actually applicable duties being much below bound rates. So I think we have headroom to increase the bound rates to encourage local manufacturing. But in order to make Indian companies efficient and competitive, over time, again, we should bring it down. Because if you're going to give too much protection, then everybody is going to take it easy. There's going to be no pressure to improve. So I think in the medium term, Atmanirbhar raising duties is very good. But over time, government must again bring duties down to make Indian companies strive for the market.
Now, Indian entrepreneurs for the longest time, Mr. Srinivasan, have raised four concerns: land, cost of labor, ease of doing business. A lot of concerns are getting addressed, at least on the land front, also on the interest rate front. Taxation, which also has come down dramatically and is one of the lowest in the world. Given that the conditions are now much more favorable, do you think Indian manufacturing sector now will enjoy a level playing field?
See, if you look at the labor laws, actually it has been codified into 4 laws. What has significantly benefited is small and medium industries employing a fewer number of people who have now got a lot of relief on the labor laws. The rest of the larger companies, the labor laws remain the same, and I'm not even asking for any major change. But when it comes to ease of doing business, I think arbitrariness of the government must become less. We cannot have new regulations, new statutes for maybe good reasons, but coming abruptly, which actually goes against ease of doing business, because we want certainty. We want to know what exactly will be the environment in which we operate. So whether it is governance rules or pollution rules or safety rules, I think government should lay out a roadmap and adhere to it. And there should not be sudden actions which upset the equilibrium. That is a very important part of ease of doing business. The second problem with the ease of doing business, the states. Still a lot of the land, power, water, pollution control, a lot of the issues are at the state level. Some states are doing well, like Tamil Nadu and some other states, but many states are not doing as well. So that is a very important aspect of ease of doing business. But when it comes to land, we still have not codified, computerized our land records. Khata or Patta, as it's called in different states. There is no real clear way that it is given. Local panchayat can issue a document to another party, and you suddenly find there's another person squatting on your land. This is something very easy to do. Why are we not computerizing our land records and making it very clear that we can do a deed search, use a law firm, and secure our land? So land is a big problem, is our land records.